Donald Trump says himself and Elon Musk are going to head over to Fort Knox soon and make sure America's gold reserves still exist.
Tell us about Fort Knox.
We're also going to Fort Knox.
Did anybody steal the gold in Fort Knox?
I think we all want to see it.
Would anybody like to join us?
And that should raise a serious question to all of us. Why now? Fort Knox has always been a symbol of American financial strength and stability, holding 147.3 million ounces of gold, which is roughly half of the U.S. Treasury's total supply. But here's the kicker. Nobody knows if the gold is still there.
Because we want to see if the gold is still there.
The last time anyone outside of the Treasury got to take a look was 1974. This was when a group of journalists and politicians were let inside after the persistent rumors, similar to right now, that the vault was empty. The only other major visit in recent history was 2017, when Trump Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin took a look and snapped a selfie. Now Trump says,
wouldn't that be terrible if we opened it up and there was no gold there?
Now, to me, that's not the kind of statement you make if you fully trust the numbers or you fully trust if it's there. So here's the real question and why I'm making today's video. What happens if Elon Musk and Donald Trump walk into Fort Knox and find out the gold isn't there? It sounds right now like a total conspiracy theory until you start doing the math and start digging deeper.
You think it's not there? I don't know.
So we're going to open those doors. We're going to take a look. We want to see lots of nice, beautiful, shiny gold in Fort Knox.
Right now, gold is supposedly stored in Fort Knox, untouched, unmoved, and fully accounted for. At least, that's what the U.S. Mint says. But for decades, the U.S. government has avoided fully opening the books on the Fort Knox reserves. The vault has been locked tight since 1937, when only 3 known public inspections in nearly 90 years. Now here's what we do know. The official gold holding in Fort Knox has been unchanged for decades. In fact, the gold's book value is reported at $42.22 an ounce. I wish I could buy some right now for that, which is obviously a wildly outdated number in today's gold prices, which are hovering above $2,000, almost $3,000 an ounce. The government swears the gold is still there, but very few people have actually seen it. And now Trump, one of the most powerful men in American history, wants an official inspection. Now, if everything checks out, great. No worry, and this video is obsolete. But if something is missing, we're looking at one of the biggest financial scandals in modern history.
It's the public's gold. It's your gold. I think you have like a right to see it.
Scenario number 1. The gold is gone and nobody knows where it went. Now this is worst case scenario territory. If Elon Musk steps into that vault and finds empty shelves, fake gold bars, or even less gold than expected, the impact would be immediate and catastrophic. Equity markets and markets across the board would plummet overnight because investors would start to panic over the means for the US economy. And here's why. The US dollar isn't technically backed by gold anymore, but the psychological assurance that the American people still hold with Fort Knox holding real physical wealth has been a cornerstone of financial stability for all these years. If the gold is gone, it means the government has been lying for decades about the country's true financial position. And at that point, the real question wouldn't be, where is the gold? It would be, what else have they been lying about? The fallout for this, in my opinion, would be worse than 2008. Scenario number 2. The gold was sold off and nobody told the public. Now let's just say the vaults aren't completely empty, but a massive chunk of gold is missing. Where did it go? Secret government projects, backroom deals with foreign nations, bailouts and financial maneuvers hidden from the public? Any of these answers, it doesn't matter which, would send shockwaves throughout the entire global economy. Selling off Fort Knox gold without public disclosure would mean that the US government has been secretly liquidating the cornerstone and the country's most valuable hard asset without telling anybody. And if that's the case, the question becomes, who got rich in the process? Because someone would have profited from this. Scenario 3. The gold is all there, but it's not ours anymore. Maybe the vaults aren't empty. Maybe the gold is sitting dusty right where it's supposed to be, and it hasn't moved in years. But what if it's already been legally pledged to somebody else? Governments and central banks routinely use gold reserves as collateral for massive loans and debt obligations. If the US government quietly pledged Fort Knox gold in the back of some foreign debt, then in true financial crisis, that gold isn't even ours to use. Imagine needing real assets to stabilize the economy, only to find out that Fort Knox is just a glorified storage unit for another foreign country's wealth. That's a national security risk on a whole different level. Scenario number 4, the gold is there, but it's fake. Now, if you think this sounds insane, you haven't been paying any attention. In 2010, China received a shipment of gold bars from the United States that turned out to be tungsten-plated fakes. Tungsten has nearly the exact same density as gold, making it almost impossible to detect unless properly tested. If Fort Knox is filled with counterfeit gold, we're talking about a currency crisis literally overnight within the matter of seconds. This would mean massive legal battles over who actually holds the real gold-backed reserves, a total collapse in faith in physical gold markets, unprecedented levels of distrust in the US financial institutions. And this wouldn't just impact the United States, it would send shockwaves across the entire global financial system. Now, as you guys knowing me, I like Bitcoin. So what does this mean for Bitcoin? If there's one asset that would explode in value if Fort Knox turned out to be a sham, it's Bitcoin. Now, why is this? Because Bitcoin is audited daily, in real time, every single second of every single day on the blockchain. See, unlike gold, which requires trust in government records and physical storage, Bitcoin's entire supply is completely transparent thanks to the blockchain. Every single transaction, every single coin, fully verifiable, 24/7, 365. If Fort Knox turns out to be empty, sold off in secret, pledged as collateral, full of fake gold, Bitcoin becomes the only real alternative. At that point, people wouldn't just see Bitcoin as a speculative asset. They'd see it as the only financial system that can't be manipulated behind closed doors. So what happens next? Right now, the US Treasury insists that Fort Knox is fully accounted for. But a Trump-backed, Musk-led inspection, that changes everything. If it happens, here's what to expect. An official confirmation that gold is intact and the whole controversy dies. A media circus if even the slightest discrepancy is found. An immediate shift to trust in Bitcoin and alternate assets if there's anything off. And if anything is off even slightly, expect gold, Bitcoin, and real assets to explode in value overnight. The bottom line, Trump isn't just talking and making noise. He's asking one question that nobody in power wants to answer. Is the Fort Knox gold really there? If the answer is yes, fine. But if the answer is no, the world is about to change. And if Musk gets inside and doesn't like what he sees, we'll all know soon enough.